Any thoughts from anyone here on this? Any other examples anyone wants to share of dogmatism?
Well, my personal thing is what I see is that people don't, it's not that they get dogmatic about stuff, but they say, okay, we're going to become agile. In the organizations that I've worked with in various places, we want the benefits of agility, but we don't want change. So, the typical thing is we take all the roles we have. The thing that they talk about with SAFe and why we have so many different roles in SAFe, I think, is because that way I just put a new label and I keep doing what I've always been doing. I'm doing it with a new label. I'm instead of a project coordinator, now I'm a scrum master. Instead of a PSA, now I'm a product owner. But what do I do? I'm creating a document. I'm running around asking people for status reports, stuff like that. So, I don't know that I hear people saying we can't change the manifesto. We have to be dogmatic about that. I see people, we want agility. It's the new buzzword. Well, it's no longer new, 25 years or whatever. But, it's the current state, your numbers that you had for LinkedIn. Really and truly, if you go into a place today and you go on a job interview and you say, hey, waterfall, that's the way I do things, you're going to have a hard time getting a job today in a lot of, in places. When I look at the job wanted ads, everybody's agile, everybody's stuff like that. If you go in and say, no, I want to plan stuff out, it's not going to happen. But when you look at what they're actually doing, they're not practicing people and interactions over processes and stuff like that. And they're instead emphasizing process. Oh, you can't do that because you're the product owner, and a product owner isn't supposed to do retros. Well, wait, that's not the Agile Manifesto. The manifesto says people interactions over processes and procedures and stuff. You just stress process, so people don't even follow the Agile Manifesto when they're being dogmatic. And that's the thing I see. It's they're not really understanding the true heart of it. I've got my certification, I've done my stuff, and I focus on those words. And boy, I'm doing stand-ups. I'm doing, I'm doing a demos. I have my retros. And, I've got a backlog, therefore I am agile. Okay, I don't really think so. What is it that you're doing? You're really delivering something to your customer with frequency and getting the feedback and working on delighting your customer. Are you working on, that's something that's missing on there is, as managers should be focused on making sure their people are engaged and excited about stuff and telling their people your focus is delighting the customer. And that's, the agile type stuff. When if you bring that in, then the words don't matter, right? I don't think
sharing.
that people are doing that. Yeah.
It's raised some really interesting points. And actually, I think there's another thing that I've been observing increasingly is that some companies have seen, they know of Agile. It's not a new thing anymore. They know of Agile. They've probably gone for a few failed transformations and they no longer want Agile. But what they still want is the outcomes that Agile, if done properly, will get them. They want the ability to learn frequently and release often, those sorts of things. And actually what you end up having to do is approach things with a different language change. You have to encourage them to experiment, maybe not using sprints or calling it Agile, but you have to work with them in a way that enables them to do the same ceremonies and Agile principles without labeling it the Agile words, because they've got this concern about it. So there's that happens as well. But I think for me, the fundamental thing about this topic in particular is that the Agile Manifesto, for me, as I said, needs to change. That's my opening statement. And one of the reasons it needs to change is because it's very dogmatic. It has been applied very dogmatic. And if we want to try and prevent that, we need to change something. And whether that's changing the manifesto itself and altering the language in it that enables it to be less dogmatically applied, whether it's the qualifying statement in the end says, some of these things are valuable, but this principle remains overall, I don't know what the answer is. I'm just saying I think it needs to change, and there must be something in there that we can alter about it that will try and remove some of this dogmatism that we're seeing out in the industry. And it's particularly important because the manifesto is the starting point. It's the foundation. It's where trainers are starting with new practitioners. And if they're starting with a bad approach to begin with, it's harder to retrain or help them learn what the alternatives are.